What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Mental Wealth Talks with Nita Friendly. I'm one of your hosts, RJ.
And I'm Diondre.
And today we're back to talking about how to hack your happiness. Now, last week we talked about week 1 of this wellness course that we're taking. It's called The Science of Wellbeing. It's by Professor Dr. Lori Santos. She's a Yale professor. This course is on Coursera for the free. And you can learn more about yourself. You know, I know we dibbled and dabbled a little bit. How'd you feel about it? You like the course?
I loved it. It was great. I think I learned a lot.
It's very insightful.
Exactly. And make sure you guys check out the last week where we spoke about some of G.I. Joe fallacy?
Yeah, the G.I. Joe fallacy.
Yeah.
And honestly, when you start looking at your happiness as a whole, it's not that easy to be happy. We all got different meanings of happiness. You know, last week we talked a little bit more of like, hey, it's week 1. What does happiness mean to us? How can we measure that happiness? Now, we're going to actually talk about the things that people think will make them happy. I want to start off by talking like, what are some basics? You're already giving me an eye. What are some basic things people think will make them happy?
Easy. Money.
Facts.
Money will make you happy. Number 1.
Yeah.
Money is the first thing people think about that will make them happy easily. You get that Lambo, you have the money to buy the home, all leads to happiness, right?
Yes, because, I mean, who wouldn't want a Lambo?
Yeah.
Who wouldn't want a Lambo, but who doesn't want a big house? You know, I've noticed in, you know, like people that I'm either around or I've been friends with or even family, like, is always money, is always love, like looking for a partner, and they just want things, you know, like,
yeah.
It's a lot of materialistic things, you know, but like, I obviously, like, I'm not gonna lie, I want some of those things, right?
Yeah.
Don't you?
Yeah.
What would you want, like, out of those 3, like, love, happiness? I mean, if Diondre already has love, so that's not fair. But.
Yeah, I want happiness, and sure, I know a lot of people would say money, but I've had my experience where, you know, just to be completely open, I've had my fair share of, you know, raises and making more money, but it didn't really do anything for me. All it really did was make things a bit easier, right? Maybe I could pay my rent without sweating, you know, I can, you know, fix my car easily. I can, you know, go on more dinner dates, but it didn't really change some of the happiness. It didn't really change, you know, some of the other stresses in life. It just makes things easier, right?
Yeah.
So for me, happiness is number 1. So.
Because I've been caught up in that, like, oh, I want to be a trillionaire like everybody else.
Yeah.
I get caught up in, like, not fame, but it's like, you know, a lot of people like being liked. You know, who doesn't want to be liked? I want to have people that like me, that support me and all this stuff, but just because you have a lot of Instagram followers, you have a lot of likes, you have a lot of attention, that doesn't really bring you happiness, because so many people can be rich, they're unhappy. They can have a lot of fame, they're unhappy.
It's not genuine either.
No.
You just said you want to be a trillionaire. You want people to like you.
Yeah.
Of course people are going to like you if you're a trillionaire. They want to be around you, so they're going to treat you differently. It's not genuine. More money, more problems. It just doesn't work that way. And I think a lot of people have it misconstrued. Again, I've been in a situation where I made a certain amount of money, and now I'm in a situation where I make more money than I did before. I would say almost double the amount, and it not a flex, but
kind of a flex.
But it really didn't change much. Like, again, it was, wow, okay, now I could afford rent more, but it didn't really change too much.
It doesn't feel that core like value of happiness.
Exactly.
And because, you know, it's when you look at these 3 things, love, materialistic things, and money, like these are all things that we all have in life. You know, like last time we talked about, like being sad, you know, whether you're being anxious or stuff, like these are all things that we go through, but like it plays a role in our happiness, you know.
Correct.
Like if you don't have money, it's not saying that you have to have money to be sad, but if you can't pay your rent and you can't put food on the table, you're going to be unhappy. If you don't have love, like I'm not talking about a partner, I'm just talking about you can have friends that love you, you can have family that loves you. If you don't have that, it's hard, you know? How are you supposed to get that?
Don't they say love and happiness?
Yeah,
you don't ever hear them say happiness and money.
Facts.
Or
wow.
love and money.
Thought about that.
They say love and happiness. There's a reason for that.
And, you know, right now, like, material things are still on the board, you know, like, because people think that you can get, like, just because you want money, you want material things. Like, no, like, I could just make a lot of money and not spend a lot of things. A broke person could still go and buy, like, a Louis bag, or say, like, oh, I need that new iPhone, I need that new car, I need this, but it's like they're not thinking about making more money. Does that make sense?
Correct.
So when we think about this, like, money does, I want to start talking about money, because money plays a big role in all our lives. If you're not making money yet, you're going to be making money soon, whether you're underage or whether you don't have a job. So doing that, in a sense, is like saying, hey, how does money play a role in your life? You know, I know you mentioned, oh, you got a big raise in your job. Like, what does the main role of money play for you besides just, like, trying to get more? Like, what does money do for you?
I would say, and it's unfortunate, but money helps me survive. Right?
Facts,
because
yeah.
you need money, you need a roof over your head. Yeah. You need a roof over your head.
Mm-hmm.
You need food. But that's all I see it as. I don't want to even correlate it with happiness. If anything, it may be a short-term thing,
Mm-hmm.
that instant gratification, or short, I just got this, now I'm happy, and then that's it, right?
Yeah.
I get a new phone. Get that Chipotle, right? I'm happy. It's the Chipotle instead of the
Chipotle sponsor coming soon.
And I love my girls cooking, but sometimes
Ooh.
I have to, make that bread sandwich or whatever. I want the Chipotle, right?
Yeah,
so
of course.
Sure, again, it helps me survive, and I just keep it at that, right?
Yeah, because the money part for me is like, money is all around us, you know. Like, somebody had to pay, I had to get these microphones, you got to buy those shirt. Like, money is everywhere, but it's not that main thing. That when I think about the role that it plays in my life, sometimes it felt like it just, like, overtakes it, or it plays too big of a role, where it's like, you see money on Instagram. If you're not a trillionaire by 21, then what are you doing with your life? And it's like, dude, I'm not even making six figures, and I'm almost like 30. I'm 28. So it's like, hey, in reality, money is not the main goal. Money is just a tool to get you to that main goal, which is happiness. But if you take the money away, you should still be happy.
I was just about to say that.
Right?
Because money didn't always exist, right? If you take it away, then what? Right?
It's gone. I mean, and then what do you have left? It's your character, your self-worth.
I always think about the like the end of the world type of situations.
Yeah.
Money doesn't matter. Then what matters? Like The Walking Dead.
Survival, water, food.
Survival, water, food, no money, and then people that you love, people that you trust, right?
Yep.
Like The Walking Dead.
I think about all the social media influencers who wouldn't know how to survive. They'd be like, how do I take a selfie through this zombie attack?
I lost my 1 million followers. That nets me, $1,000 a month off of affiliate marketing or whatever.
Yeah.
Like, if you take that all away, like, you can't even let it define you either.
It's similar to, like, COVID. Like, what we went through during COVID was that, oh man, like, all these businesses shut down, and then they stop making money. People are losing their jobs. They're staying at home. They don't know how to pay. Unemployment is just writing checks. But even then, it still wasn't enough to be like, are you happy? Like, no, I'm not happy. I'm cooped up indoors. I don't got no money. Like, but take away the money, I'm still locked indoors. I still can't go outside and have peace of mind. Like,
well, I kind of had a different experience. I wasn't working and I was getting those checks, but I got to spend more time with my family.
That's
so
beautiful.
At that time, I didn't have a daughter, and I wasn't with my girlfriend living together. I was with my my brother and my mother, right? And we would go thrifting together because we all didn't work. So we're like, hey, that check just dropped. That check just dropped. Let's go to the thrift store.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And we would also do this thing where it's like every Sunday we would order IHOP or something.
Oh, wow.
And I kind of miss that. Now I'm, we're fully back to work and everything, and I'm like, man.
It was simpler times.
It was simpler times.
Yeah.
I didn't have much money because I was getting that it was the stimmy and
Those stimmies were hitting.
and the unemployment every week. And I wasn't even thinking, oh my God, I'm not working. I wasn't even really thinking of that. I knew something would come, but I had a very different experience with that. So
because when we see in the program or in the course, Dr. Santos, she brings up, like, how much money we've spent as a country in lottery, and in 2015 it was $70 billion. So 70 billion, not million. That's billion with a B. So imagine in 1 year we spent 70 billion. Dude, we could feed our whole country, like, we could literally, like, take care of the homeless. We could take care of so many other people, but our minds were more fixated on, I got to get more money. I got to get more money. And you're not even getting more money. You're literally paying for a lottery, which is a chance. You're not gonna get guaranteed, oh, you're gonna make this money. No, it's more like, yeah, you might win some, put some money in, you'll see. And it's like, what does that do for me when you don't win the scratch off? You know, and you realize, oh snap, they just dropped 70 billion in there, and how many of those people are actually happy?
Exactly. You're just chasing the dollar.
You keep chasing and chasing, and like, you know, I know that I used to chase money before a lot. I've worked 2 jobs. You know, this isn't a flex, but it's like, yeah, like I would work 2 jobs either because I had to or I wanted to more money. I've been broke before where I was like, oh man, there was a time that I was like, no joke, probably like 6 months past due on my car note, and my mom would tell me like, hey, your car's gonna get repoed, and I was like, you know, like, it's not gonna get repoed. But in my head I was like saying it's not gonna get repoed, but in reality, like, because I didn't have the money to pay it, like, it really could have gotten repoed. I was working 2 jobs, I was side hustling, you know. It was to the point where like money just seemed to always like engulf me and what I needed to do, and I was like, oh man. And even now, like, credit card debts, like, you know, thank God I don't have no more credit cards. Don't get credit cards. I'm fighting credit card debt to like get on top of my like finances. I got student loans, unfortunately. I know somebody right next to me was very lucky to pay off his college as he was going, which everybody should do. Don't take out student loans. Even if you're at a high-paying school, figure it out, man.
And don't pay for okay, let me not say that. I was going to say don't pay for those books. But every course you don't need those books. That's
every professor is hating that right now.
Yeah.
Pay for the books because they wrote them.
I want to be a professor, and my thing would be I don't encourage students to buy the books. PowerPoint slides, come to the class, and that's it.
Yeah. I mean, because the money gives you like a sense of security. It makes you feel like, hey, like I could take care of things. Just like you were saying, like during the pandemic, you're getting that money. You're able to feel like, oh my gosh, like, you know, we can go out, we can do this, and it's a sense of security. It makes you feel good, like I'm safe. Exactly. You know, but when they rattle that and they're like, oh, you feel safe, let me just take all that safety away from you. Like, what if you get sued? You know, we're not gonna get sued, but like if like a big company gets sued, that's taking money out of people's mouths, you know, or food out of their mouths, out of their pockets. Because how many times do you hear like, oh, they did mass firing? Come on. How do you feel about that? Like, you're just letting off a bunch of people, and now you're like, hey, go figure it out, you know, like go chase money somewhere else, not here.
Well, it's very interesting because I know there's been a lot of like tech layoffs and things of that nature, but a lot of people, they get laid off and then they kind of have this moment of realization where, you know, they're still unemployed. Some of them are, of course, they don't feel secure, but they actually feel happier going on to something else, or, you know, they say they can spend more time with themselves. So again, the connection with money and happiness, or even a job, getting laid off, I mean, I'm not saying don't care, but I feel like don't get stuck in continuously looking at that number, I'm in this amount of debt, because it can really consume you, you know.
I mean, I check my bank accounts every day, you know. I wake up in the morning, I check them just to like, you know, remind myself like, hey, I'm working with this, I got this. But like this constant rat race mentality, like I gotta work, and like I gotta get that raise, I gotta get this, and
what does it do for you?
It doesn't do anything.
It doesn't do anything.
Dude, in the course they talk about going from, what was it, I think having a 30% increase, so going from 70K to 100K, 6 figures, you know. You finally made it, big boy league, 6 figures. Supposedly, let's say you get like a 1.5% increase of like happiness. Once you go from 100K or 100,000, 100K to 130, dude, that increase is less actually, because you're already used to it. It's just an extra 130. It's extra 30. Now I'm making 130. What am I going to do with that extra 30 grand?
At the end of the day, it's really not worth it, because as you make more money, you have more responsibility. Oh my God, a squirrel just came by.
He wants to be in the video.
But as you get that increase, you have more responsibility. And it's a business.
More money, more problems.
More money, more problems. And it's a business. So 9 times out of 10, they're not really paying you the amount you're supposed to get paid for the task that you're doing. It's a business. So again, when you get that higher salary, more responsibility, and you only get that happiness for a split second, you know, it's not like a long lasting happiness, right?
It's a dopamine hit.
It's a dopamine hit.
That's what it is.
I prefer to say that.
We're just doping every time. It's just dope. Let me get some dope.
It doesn't. it doesn't change anything. It's just more problems.
Okay, so because there's been a time when in my life I thought like making a certain dollar amount. I've never been salary, but I've been hourly the past 10 years that I've been working, since like 18, 16, whatever, 10, 12 years. And it was always like an increase. I went from my minimum wage job at the food court in the mall.
Yeah.
I was making churros, making like $8 an hour. That was the minimum in Florida. And then boom, I get an increase to like $12. That was a big jump. I went to a whole different job. Then boom, I started working as a server. Any servers out there know you're making that cash money, especially if you're a good server and you're getting that cash tips. Dude, you're pulling bank sometimes that you're like, wow. Then you kind of realize, you know what? I want something more consistent. You don't always make that consistent money in the serving game. Like, all right, you know, you have your slow seasons. I then got a job where it's like, hey, you're paying hourly again. All right, cool. Diondre, I was making the most I ever was at my current time. And I like hourly though. I was shocked. I was like, oh my gosh. Wow. $20 an hour? That is crazy.
Yeah.
Crazy. It's crazy when you get your W-2 and you only see that's like maybe $35K a year or something around there. Like,
yeah, it's
not
never
much.
enough. The taxes go crazy. I mean, you make 100K, you're probably only getting 70 or even less.
Wow, that's
almost 70.
And that's crazy because if you break it down, it's like maybe, I don't know the numbers. It might be like $50 an hour, like or like $100 an hour, but you realize that you're kind of like, you're always going to be like, can I get another one? Can I get more?
You're always going to want more. It's never enough. Yeah, never enough.
It doesn't feel like enough, and it doesn't feel like the rat race is a way to get out of it unless you do your own business, you start doing, or you work yourself to the bone, like, because like you said, you get more responsibilities. Like as you've progressively seen, like as we get older, I feel like we always get more responsibilities, but even as you make more money, there people are going to look at you and be like, hey, you make this much, so you can do this, you can do that. And then in reality, you're going to be like, I should get paid more. What do you mean? I'm doing all of these things.
Yeah.
And it's tough to kind of keep that mindset of like, hey, the money isn't going to bring me happiness. What brings me real happiness is, yes, you need the money because you got to survive. But it's also realizing like, hey, if you can take a job that's paying you 6 figures, but you're stressed out, you're annoyed, you're not happy with life, it's not
worth it. I would rather take, if I'm making $100,000 and I'm really stressed, I'd rather take the $80,000 job, maybe even 70.
Take the pay cut.
Yeah, I'm not joking. Yeah, even in some scenarios, you make 100K, you go to another job. I'd also consider, if your job is capable, just try to negotiate with your current job and take less sometimes. But it's well, hard. You wouldn't really know until you're at that new job. But once you're at the new job and you see it's
crazy,
this ain't it, maybe get something easier and take a $10,000 cut. And
learn how to manage your money better.
Some people would even say I sound insane saying something like that. 100K job, you just deal with it, put up with it. No, it's not worth it at the end of the day. I have 4 gray hairs. Yeah.
And you're just gonna get more and more the more money we make.
Yeah.
And taking that pay cut and uplifting your happiness while reducing your stress, like, you may have to budget a little bit more. You may not get the Chipotle every fucking weekend or every freaking weekend. Sorry.
It was every day for me.
Oh, every day. You may not get the Chipotle every day, but it's still like, hey, your happiness though. You budget. You don't have to stress out. You don't have to answer phone calls after work. Like, you're doing this for you, because at the end of the day, if it's not your business, you may not care about it as much. So you're literally working for somebody else and stressing yourself. Not saying that's a bad thing. We still need employees, but it's saying, hey, check yourself. If you're not in an area where you're getting paid and you're happy, go to a different area where you could be happy,
right. But you see, the thing about it too, RJ, is when you're at a job and it's very demanding, and that's what feeds your family, it keeps a roof over your head.
Of course, it's a security. You need that security.
Right. So it's like, okay, I won't answer these emails over the weekend, but damn, I think I have to do this. No, I know I have to do this because this is my job. It's this constant push for productivity. So it's a mind game. It's messing us up with money because we depend on it so much, even to the point where I'm stressed. I really want to do something else, but I know I have to do this because this is what feeds my family.
I mean, money it's something that we need. It's a part of our life. We're going to keep it in our lives, you know, and this is just something that we have to learn with, and we can't live against it. You know, we got to learn how to live with it. And just kind of now pivoting into the topic of love, because again, people love money, but at the same time, people love love, you know?
Exactly.
They love the lovey-dovey feeling. They think that, oh my gosh, if I get in this relationship, I'm going to be so happy. I'm going to be just so ecstatic. If I tie the knot before 30, oh man, you have no idea. I'm going to be so happy.
Yeah.
Wow. We got the American dream, man. We got the wife. We got the dog. We have the apartment because we can't afford a house in 2024, you know? And there you go. Boom. But in reality, the love is there. The love is great. But if you start chasing love, then you're just chasing like to fill that, you know.
Love is blind.
Oh.
Love is blind. It's kind of like what, it's if you chase it, you're not, anytime you chase something, you're not going to get the result that you want. Just the same way you chase money, and let's say you do get the money, and then you
then you're lonely maybe.
Or you know, you chase that money, you get the money, and then you couple it with love. That person's just there for your money.
Oh wow.
You know, that's
you got
terrible.
the gold diggers.
Or like I said in Love is Blind, a whole bunch of people are just desperate. Not everyone, let me not say that, because I don't want them to attack me.
No,
but there's a lot of people that are desperate for love. There's people that are desperate for money, but
people that bounce from relationship to relationship, like it doesn't really show that like the love is important, because you're just trying to fill that empty space of like, hey, I kind of want companionship, when you can fill that companionship, whether it's through friendship, family. Self-love is a big thing for me, you know. Like,
just don't force it. Like, meet that girl over at Chipotle. She's probably having that same bowl too. Or that guy that's at Chipotle.
And not every scenario where like you meet somebody that you're like, oh, we're talking for a little bit because we're in a talking stage, we're dating, and like you got to dive all the way in, and I love them, oh my gosh, great. When in reality, it's like, hey, take a step back, you know, because if you're always doing this and you did this with the last person and you're going to do it with the next person, just kind of take a step back and say, you know what, let me take that love I'm giving somebody else and let me just bring it back in, you know, because I don't know if you feel this, but I kind of feel like sometimes people chase love like over money, because they're so ready to get to that stage where it's like, we're going on the trips, we're going on the vacations, we're buying each other gifts for holidays. I met her family, she met my family, and like, boom. But after a while, it's like, it's the same old, right?
What are you trying to say? Are you trying to say that, you know, maybe like two successful people, they have money, they're going on trips, and now they're trying to fill that emptiness of love? Maybe.
I feel like it's just people feeling that emptiness of love, that emptiness of like kind of like self-love, because sometimes I feel like people can't be by themselves, which is like a big thing, you know. Like, you got to be secure in yourself before you can introduce somebody into your life and not let them kind of like overtake yourself, or overtake, like, you know, just like, you don't want to get lost in them. That's something that I feel like a lot of people kind of go through when they're just jumping, like, who are you, you know, who are you, with the self-love, the caring about yourself, and then knowing how to love somebody else, because how can you love anybody if you can't love yourself, man?
That is true. A lot of people just jump into love without loving themselves first,
or knowing the person.
That's
scary. You know, like all these toxic relationships, you saw the red flags, you saw them, they weren't green, they weren't orange, they were bright red, and you're still like, yeah, you know what, like, I don't want to be alone, so why not?
So I think once you're secure with yourself, you don't easily get distracted by those red flags. You know what I mean? Like,
because then you know what's good for you, and you know what you want to let in. And when you see somebody that's not on your same wavelength, and you're like, wow, like, they could be good looking, they could text you all the time, they could go out with you all the time, they could be a great time, but you kind of know they're not a good partner for you in the end, and you're like, you should, you know, not a lot of people do this, but you should choose the lonely route, you know, because it may not be successful, it may not be like the happiest route right now, but in the long run, we're talking about longevity. Like, how are you going to be happy with that person or without that person? Right, because breakups are going to hurt, but if you're getting lost in that person, or you're being codependent all the time, it's like, how are you ever going to move on your own?
Correct.
It's not fair, because I think that when we see like these stages of like, everybody has that, where you go, oh, we're talking, we're dating, now we're in the honeymoon stage, and then we're married, and then in the course it says it goes right back down. It's like, once you put a title on it, and we've been dating for 10 years, dude, after like the second year, it's like, hey, like we could get married, but it's just like the previous two, you know.
Yeah,
it's gonna keep. You got to make it fun.
Yeah, a lot of people would put the title on it, like, dating for a long time, and then they finally get married, and it's like, okay, now we're married. Like, it's crazy because if I feel like I get married today, I don't think much would change. The only thing is it's like a financial
You get a ring
right?
on your finger, you get to say my wife instead of my partner,
you gotta share
my girlfriend.
assets or whatever. But other than that, there's really no big change. And that's why I had brought up Love is Blind, just kind of chasing love for some of them, not all of them. Chasing love and just getting that, hey, this person is my husband, this person is my wife, and now we're setting certain goals and standards right off the bat, you know?
And the love part is beautiful. Like when you see relationships, I love seeing relationships. I love seeing people happy and together and smiling and being able to grow as a unit together. It's why we were put here. Like we said before, we're here to be with each other and support each other and to help each other and also to love each other, because I don't think anybody on this planet could ever survive without love. Not at all. Like everybody needs love, whether you got love from your parent, whether you got love from a teacher, a friend, the little animals outside that come to you and give you love. Like
the world will be a better place with love. You always hear people say like, what is it, like, you look like you need to give this person a hug or something, because we associate like hugs with love. And
have you seen those signs where the guy's holding up something like, if you need a hug, just like hold me, and you see people going up to them and crying,
they're crying because they probably had a rough day, like, you know what I mean,
and they just need that little recharge of like, hey,
and that can make someone's day right there. There would be less conflict, less wars if there was more love, right?
And the self-love is important because there's also parts on us that like we realize that we can't accept, and if we can't accept ourselves, how can we accept other people? You know, there's been like parts in my life where self-love has been challenging, you know, like just stupid embodied perfection, or what I would think is embodied perfections, like, or maybe I'm not tall enough, in my family. Dude, a lot of the guys are like 6'+", and I'm 5'8", so I'm like on the shorter end, and that could mess with your head if you're like, oh, I'm always a short one, blah blah blah. But in reality, it's like, this was your body. God gave you this body. Be happy in it.
Exactly.
Like, is there anything that you've kind of gone through with your own like self-image that was kind of hard to accept or like kind of move forward with?
Probably.
Come on, there has to be something in the teens or something.
Probably my hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
okay.
Because like I have 4C type hair, and it gets like very rough. So when I put water through it, it's like it feels soft, right? And like in the black community, they're kind of like, your hair is soft. You have those natural curls or good hair. Yeah. So I felt like I had bad hair, right? Okay. But it's not really. It's just hair. It's just that.
It's just
I have a different curl pattern.
Yeah.
So that's something I really didn't like, but then I started embracing it. I even had twists. I did different styles, whatever. That's my hair, and that, I mean, some people let their hair define them, of course, but that doesn't define me. I might have coarse hair, but it's like, you have coarse hair, you suck. You're a terrible human being. So that's one of the things that I had to get over.
That's interesting. That, I mean, just because you bring that up, I remember being a kid and having like long curly hair, and kids used to tease me as like, oh my gosh, you look like a girl. I had a very round face too, and it's like, oh, you look so feminine with your long hair, blah blah. And I didn't shave it, but like I chopped it. I did like a little like Pauly D blowout for all of middle school. Chopped it again, and then when you realize, like you said, embrace it, enjoy it, love it. Obviously I don't look like a girl anymore, but still, like, it kind of messes with your self-image, which is very distraucting, especially like, it's not just kids, it's adults too. Adults still have their stuff. Dude, cosmetics.
Adults are just big kids. Yeah.
Adults are big kids, but at the same time, like, there's so much fixation on our appearance nowadays. And your appearance isn't going to bring you happiness, because guess what? We're all going to get wrinkles. We're all going to get old. We're all going to look a certain way at some point where we're not at our pinnacle of how we were when we were the young teen in our primes, or the young 20-year-old, And something interesting that I learned from this course was that people who do cosmetic surgery, they already have kind of like low self-esteem, or have like a critical way that they look at their image. So then they resort to cosmetic surgery, and then guess what? You gotta guess. Does it make them feel better?
Guess probably not.
Exactly, it doesn't.
It doesn't.
It just brings their happiness down, and then one surgery leads to another surgery, and then guess what?
And again, what does it all lead to? You chasing.
Yep.
You're just chasing.
You're chasing the dragon.
Yep.
That's what it is. And I've known some friends of mine to get cosmetic surgeries. There's nothing wrong with it, but again, what is the reason you're doing it for? Are you doing it because you're like, hey, I'm not going to be good looking unless I get like a boob job, or I'm not going to be good looking unless I get like my hair done? I have fear of like maybe losing all my hair when I get older. Would I get like a toupee like Donald Trump? Nah, maybe not. But at the same time, the self-worth is still there. I'm still like, as a human, amazing, even though my physical appearance is changing, and not a lot of people have that.
Right.
The self-confidence part and like self-worth seem to like kind of, what's the word, like they clash or
clash.
Clash,
you wouldn't
right?
coincide.
I wouldn't say coincide, yeah, like because they're so
clash.
different. They clash.
Yeah, clash.
Because I think like your self-confidence is not related to your what's the word, your self-worth, and we get that twisted a lot. Like, oh, if I look good, then I'm a better person. Do you see that in society or any friends?
All the time. I feel like people define themselves by their looks.
Okay.
Right. You see that a lot with social media, right?
IG models.
Yeah. Well, not all of them. Again, not everyone.
Shout out IG models.
Not everyone. It's just that it's just so crazy because we'll be on social media. You see people are defined by their bodies, their looks. You never heard them speak.
They have more likes, more attention.
More attention. Again, you've never heard them speak. You don't know how they interact with other people. It's only because of how they look that I guess you define them as something else. And you think that they're worth probably like $1 billion just based off the appearance, when in reality I think it's the personality and the actual inside of the person that gives the self-worth.
Yeah.
So
because it's like you said, like you try to kind of like coat yourself, because you could be the not best looking person, but like this kind of leads into the next topic, is like you try to increase your self-worth with dressing nicer, buying fancier clothes, you know, like I gotta get the drip, I gotta get the Gucci, I gotta get all this stuff, and it's like
and you can kind of feel that person being confident with
right?
Like, they
look at me, what I got.
They might not be the best looking person, but when they walk into the room, you feel the confidence, so it makes them good. You don't even look at the appearance at all. Like, there's been people, like, you love this person gives off a great aura. You're not looking at their looks, because they just give off that confidence.
And that's beautiful, because again, like, you can use that, like, hey, like, I may not be the best looking, but I dress the best. But at the same time, if I strip that away from you, what do you have now? You're not the best looking and you're not the best dressed. Do you still have that self-love, that self-image of you, like, hey, you're worth all the love, you're worth all the happiness, you deserve all the happiness.
Right.
But once you take that away, it's like, hey, you don't have a Gucci belt, you got Walmart jeans on, and it's like, there's nothing wrong with Walmart jeans on, I got a great personality still.
Right. And when you have that, you're not looking at anything else, because we're just talking about, you have someone that may not look as good, and they're dressing up, and they have the confidence, and then you're saying, if you strip even that best dressed thing,
what's left at your core.
Yes.
And it's not going to bring you that real joy, that real self-worth. And I think, like, we've all been through this. Like, when I was in high school, not that I didn't feel like I was good looking or anything like that. I mean, I think every teen has that problem, but like, when I was in high school, I was a sneaker fiend, and I felt like, oh man, if I have the nicest J's, man, I'll tell you what, I'll step and I'll be fresh, and I'll like, nobody can tell me anything, but then you realize, like, you spend money on material things. Who am I impressing? Am I really impressing myself, or am I trying to impress my peers or just the people around me?
That you have. I used to be the person that had like 30 pairs of shoes. I didn't wear all of them.
What's your favorite one?
Probably the Air Jordan ones.
Wow.
There's that silhouette. I used to have breads, Royals.
The breads, I never got them.
I never had 11s. I had some 3s.
I had the Wolf Grays.
Grays?
Yeah, the Wolf Gray. I think they were like, what, like 9s or 7s, something like that. I don't know. They kind of look like the breads,
Wolf
but
Gray 5s.
Probably.
With the big tongue. And then you had the Cool Gray 11s.
I think the Cool Gray 11s,
cool
that might have been the
Wolf
one.
Gray. So I used to collect all of these sneakers, and some of them I just wouldn't even wear. It was just to kind of have them. And I wouldn't say to impress my peers. I don't know. I just kind of had them, and maybe it was to do that. But
you just don't realize it, because it's your mind saying, like, hey, if I look this way, maybe I could kick it to the girl,
But that's the thing, RG. I didn't even wear it.
Oh, you didn't wear them? What would you do with them?
I was just collecting. But I guess that's a different type of. I don't know. That might be a different video. That might just be like
that's
addiction.
That's a real sneaker fiend right there, though.
Yeah.
I mean, I wasn't doing it to not wear them, but like I would wear them, but I would want to wear them and like just put the fit together, you know, like hey, I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna put on my new shoes because guess what, you guys are gonna notice. Like,
yeah, that's true. So you should not be doing it for other people to notice. You should be doing it to make yourself feel good. Yeah, because you were putting them on and saying, hey, I hope everyone sees this. Kind of. But really, what it's supposed to be is I'm going to put this on. I look in the mirror and I look good.
And I love shoes. Don't get me wrong. I truly enjoy the shoes. I still think that Jordans are cool and everything. But it's not like that like, oh, I'm getting them because I want to be like that
cool.
That cool, or like
you're getting them because you like them, and it's for
it's for me, you know, and I want to wear them and make myself look nice, you know, like I could buy a pair of $20 Vans, or not 20, but like 4 cheap Vans, maybe like $40, and be like, okay, cool.
They're probably like $60 now. That
BOGO, you buy BOGO at the outlet.
Or the Payless. They don't have Payless anymore. Airwalk.
I used to shop in Payless with my mom, and like even buying those things, like you kind of feel like lesser because you're like, oh, I'm buying Payless, you know, like, you know, people would rag on them.
Rock them though.
Yeah, of course. The Shaq. Come on, the Shaqs, the shoes.
I can't lie, I never had those.
Exactly. You see, I think I had a pair, and my grandma tried to give me a pair. Like, oh, here you go, you know, but. That mindset of the material things are not going to bring you happiness, whether it's shoes, it's clothes, it's watches. I know you like watches, but you know, the Rollie on the wrist or the Richard Mille isn't going to bring you, it doesn't fill the heart, but it does bring a smile.
It does, yeah. Every time you look at it, you know, I mean.
But again, it's a dopamine hit, you know, you might just do that because you lost a watch in the water, you know, like, oh, that's it. You know, I'm so upset I lost the watch, but honestly, it's like, dude, you could get another watch and you'll be fine, you know?
That's true.
And a lot of people kind of take this idea of like, oh, you can't have nice things. Like, you can have nice things, but don't have nice things to try to stunt on people and think that you can only be happy from like having nice things, you know?
Right.
And seeing that like mindset is switching your kind of like your gut, because I used to think like, oh, if I get this kind of raise, or I get this kind of girl, or I get this kind of like drip, I'm gonna be happy. That's not right at all, man.
Not at
like, all. It's so weird. It's very interesting because your intuition can be actually really wrong and strongly against what you really need deep down. You know, because there's these one of these factors that the Dr. Santos talks about is these like annoying features of your mind. And I know last time we talked about like the G.I. Joe fallacy and stuff like that. Like, knowing is not half the battle, but like also reminding yourself like, hey, your body or your mind might say like, hey, get that because it'll make you feel good. And it's like, wait a second, is it gonna really feel good, or am I just doping right now and I'm getting that hit? Is there something that you like purchased before that you were like, hey, like I got this, and you were thinking like it was gonna bring you happiness, but it didn't?
The Beamer. I don't know why I got that car. So, you know, I got the car, and honestly, I could have just gotten like a Charger or a Challenger. Yeah. Because I want a Challenger. It's easier to work on. I want American muscle, but I got a Beamer. Ooh. $5,000 repairs.
Wow.
Yeah, I thought they would have got. You know, I was happy, and you know, I could say that. Yeah. I called it like cocaina, you know, like a cocaine white, because it's a white color.
Yeah.
A nice, you know, car. And then, you know, I look at it and it broke, and I was like,
idiocracy. Would you do it again?
Bleep, bleep, you know, bleep, bleep. I'm like cursing at the car. And then I'm like, okay, I can't talk to it like that because I need it repaired. But it's so expensive to repair. I was happy for that like moment, but now it's kind of like, it's just a car.
Yeah.
You know.
So you wouldn't do that again?
I wouldn't do it again.
Okay.
I would get something cheaper.
Hey, that might be the adult in us, but if you had the money, like, you know, they say like some of the richest people still drive like normal cars, you know, like just Toyotas or whatever it is, and that's important because it is a mindset. Like, yeah, you could have a nice car, you could have a nice watch, but if you're just doing this one after the other, after the other, after the other, like you can't drive all your cars at the same time. Exactly. And it's not like you're wearing all 20 watches on one hand, you know, or on both arms. Because there was a time that I ended up getting golds, you know, when I was like in my early 20s. And you know, it's the ignorance, it's the hip hop influence, it's the culture that we're in Broward County, Florida. And you see it, and then you realize like, wow, Diondre, I spent over $1,000 on top and bottoms, and when I tell you I threw them away after a night of eating McDonald's,
you
and
should have just got the bottoms.
I had canines before that, and I threw those away too at Waffle House.
Oh my god!
So anybody knows that
you could have melted them down.
Well, melt what down? I threw them in the trash.
Yeah, but I'm saying you could have melted them down first.
I guess, yeah. And sold it? Yeah, sure, why not?
Yeah.
It's not like I threw them in the trash on purpose. I was
Actually,
in a Waffle House.
I'm wrong. This defeats the whole purpose. You didn't want money.
I didn't.
You didn't want money, right? That's what we were talking. You just threw it away because
I bought something that was so ignorant and that I thought it was gonna bring me happiness, and it was really just for me to like look in the mirror and say, haha, I got gold on my teeth. Like I got gold on my teeth. You know, I make a certain amount. I paid for this. This is me.
So you didn't do it for yourself. You did it
I
to impress other people. Because if you did it for yourself, then that's fine.
Yeah.
Right?
I mean, I think I did it for myself to like, because I thought it was going to make me look like cooler or like better. But like at the same time, like when I realized like, wow, I just threw away $1,000 in a McDonald's bag. Because the first time was Waffle House. The second time was in a McDonald's bag. It's always food related because I like to eat.
Yeah.
I would never do that again. And I'm like, wow, what a dumb way to spend money on material things that didn't even bring me long-term happiness, you know?
Right.
And because eventually, like, what am I going to be, 80 years old, still repping golds? Like, are you still going to be driving that Beamer once it hits over 200K or 300K miles?
I mean, I'm at 120.
Hey, but 300 is going to give out at some point, right?
Wait, don't say that.
Oh.
I'm trying to keep it for a long time. Come on. But yeah, he is right. You are right. It's going to give out. I mean, like,
and that's just natural though. So like knowing that the material things aren't going to bring you happiness, that's okay. It's easy to accept. Buy nice things, but don't put all your happiness into that, you know?
Correct.
And they talk about this later in the course, but like invest in experiences, invest in like things that you can actually take with you later in your years. Because like we said, the car is going to break down, the golds are going to be outdated, but you know what? You taking a trip somewhere with your girlfriend, going on a trip with your family, that's going to be beautiful, you know? Like, and you're always going to have that. So I realized that it's not about, you know, the money. It's about our intuition and where we're learning to say, hey, this is for us and this isn't for us. Even though our mind might say, go chase that girl that you're trying to find love every time. Go spend that money on that new car that you really can't afford. Go try and work your butt off on that raise, even though you know it's not going to really do anything for you in the long run, you know? And doing that kind of shifts that perspective, you know? Saying, hey, where's my happiness coming from? Is my happiness coming from self-love? Is my happiness coming from a job that I can actually be valued at, you know, and not be overworked? Is my happiness coming from maybe not just material things, but just spending my money in a way where it goes beyond material? Because we could spend money all the time, but how much time are we going to be happy with, you know?
Right.
Hey friends, thank you so much for being a part of the podcast. I wanted to take a moment and say, if you've been feeling stressed, unhappy, or just downright stuck in a rut, go ahead and click the link in the description and we can set up a one-on-one coaching session where we teach you how to take control over your life and to make some differences. Thank you again. Let's get back to the podcast. So in this course, they're talking about basically there's a pie chart of how your happiness is made up. It's 50% genes, and then it's also going to be 40% actions and thoughts. So you have to do the work. And then 10% is only life circumstances. So imagine that, like, your body's made up genetically of your happiness, but then at the same time, whatever's in your head is going to contribute. And then everything on the outside is just kind of like little fairy dust. It's just a little.
Right. 10% is very small. So that 40%, it's fully in your control then. That's what I'm getting from it.
And you just kind of see like, when you notice like certain families like just have same attitudes, same personalities. And that's important. Like my dad's positive. I can appreciate that. So is my mom. I love that about them. And that kind of transpires. But at the same time, like they can't live my life for me. They don't control the thoughts in my head. You know, it's very interesting because life circumstances happen all the time, but we all go through that, right?
Correct.
You know, like what do you say is something that you kind of realize that, like, are your parents happy actually? Like, you know,
they are happy. They look happy to me. Yeah.
All right, perfect. So that kind of leaves you into a better spot.
They've been together for a very long time. All right. Individually,
as individuals, they're happy and together.
Happy. Yes.
Now, when you think about your thoughts, you know, like, are your thoughts happy? Do you try to keep them positive? You know.
I try to keep it positive all the time. So you're saying 50% was genetic. So I see them positive. So that does play a large part because I want to be positive. But then 40%, basically, you're saying that
it's your
that's
thoughts,
kind of
actions.
up to you. Thoughts, actions.
Yep.
It's hard. I think it's hard because if you're saying both of your parents are positive, I think it would almost make sense trying to see someone whose parents are both negative, and then trying to see, their 40%, right?
Yep.
Because it's kind of like, well, yeah, both of my parents are positive and they raised me very well, and I'm a positive person, so it's kind of hard. So of course I'm going to say, yeah, my thoughts are positive. I wish we could bring someone up here who, both parents are negative, and then it's like, how do you, that 40%, how do you navigate and
you take control of your mind. You have to. Your mind, your actions, reminding yourself what is really important to you, happy wise, and people get caught up in these life circumstances, because we all go through stuff, whether it's a breakup, a loss in a family member, and maybe just some disappointment that you've gone through, some achievements you haven't reached yet. But reminding yourself that it's not based off all of that. It's not based on your parents' genetics either. I would like to flip it and say that it was actually 50% thoughts and actions, and then 40% genes, and then 10%, because we still can control our mind, take it by the reins and say, hey, we're going to think about this, we're going to do this, but it still takes that effort,
Correct.
And life, you can't avoid life, man. There's no way that you're avoiding it. There's no way that you can say, hey, we're going to make sure that every day's sunny. We're always going to get through it. It's not always sunny in Philadelphia. Have you seen that show?
I've heard of it, but I haven't watched a single episode. Though I've been recommended for it.
Well, guess what? It rains there too, so it's not always sunny in Philadelphia. But honestly, like, sometimes our minds and we get in our heads, and we're saying like, oh, it's because of this that I'm not happy, it's because of that, like sometimes you have to remind yourself it's not that bad.
Yeah. So with you saying, well, this happened, and this is why I'm not happy, I think a lot of the times you just have to make the situation the best of the situation, right? You're saying like, it rains, it sucks, I'm not happy, it's raining today.
You got to control your thoughts,
right?
And your actions too.
Exactly. But being that thoughtful person, it's like, well, it's raining, but at least I got to spend some time with this person. Or I think this happened to me last week. I went to a Nicki concert, and we're supposed to take the Bright Line train. My girl took forever to do her hair, and we missed the train.
Oh no.
It's like, it could have been terrible. But
you made it.
We made it. She drove and I drove back, because I was already tired. I drive a lot, like an hour to work, and my hip was bad. I sound like an old person. Like my hip.
The gray hairs, people. The gray hairs are real.
And hip. But we made the best of it. We got to see Lake Okeechobee. We got to see the remote part of Florida that no one has ever seen before. So it's making the best out of the situation.
Of course. Yeah. That's beautiful, because there's been times where like, hey, you got to hype yourself up and be like, hey, remind yourself it's not as bad as you think. It's not as bad as you think. Like, there's been times when I'll start a new job and I feel weird, out of place, and it's like, am I smart enough? Am I even good enough? Should I be doing this? And it's like, give yourself some time, give yourself some grace too, and say, hey, relax, you're gonna be fine, you're gonna get through it, you're gonna learn. And then just looking into changing the mindset. And a lot of people are gonna say it's not that easy. It's not easy because we're not used to it. We have to get used to that, and you gotta accustom yourself, because if you don't accustom yourself, it's just like working out. And people hate when you compare it to working out. Take anything that you start, whether it's drawing, whether it's making music, whether it's working at a job for real, but just learning something new is a baby step, and you got to dip your toe in a little bit more, and a little bit more, and by the time you know it, you're swimming and you're fully in the water, which is it's not easy.
So how about things that you really just don't like? What do you think about that? Like, I don't like something and I have to make the best out of it.
I don't like doing my laundry, but I do it because I hate seeing clothes pile up. And I hate doing dishes, but I hate having to do that big pile of dishes. You know what I mean?
I see.
And there's a lot of things that I may not like, but at the same time, I don't like working out. I never really liked working out, but I learned to not like myself when I don't work out more, so it's like, you got to pick the one of the evils, would you rather not work out and be like, oh, I'm so disgusted by myself, or I don't like myself and blah blah, I'm lazy, I'm not fit, or would you rather complain that you're working out but not have that other stuff that you're worried about?
That's
like
true.
Hey, my health is good, I take care of myself, I don't have to be super fit, but I'm doing enough to just keep me above water.
Right, I see.
What about you?
I typically, well, not typically, I've had jobs before that I didn't like per se.
Of course, we all do.
And but going back to, making the best out of it, there's certain things that you learn from it.
Yes.
I actually had a conversation with someone that's behind the camera about this, like not liking something at a job, but really making the best out of it, taking what you learn from that job and, applying it in other areas, because you can mope and say, I hate this job. You're
going to be miserable at the job too.
And then also, I'm the type of person, no matter what job it is, it could be, picking up trash, or there's some tables in the back you guys can't see. I'll be the best table flipper that I could possibly be, no matter what the job is. And it sucks because you hate it or you don't really like it that much, but you just have to make the best out of it.
You're right.
Think of the positives out of it. How can I take this and translate it into something else? Or again, best table flipper. I hate the job, but I'm gonna flip these tables. I don't know. It might work out somewhere else.
As a server, I was literally flipping tables in the restaurant, and I hate serving. I didn't like it, but at the same time, it brought me extra money. When I would do it, it brought me more money than my normal 9 to 5, and it would also it uplifted my communication and server skills or customer service skills.
Right.
You do learn something in every journey in life, and it's just saying, hey, you may not like it right now, but just know it's another stepping stone. You're not gonna be there in like 5-10 years, and if you are, maybe you want to stay there, maybe you don't, but that's up to you. It's thoughts and action. You can't just think about it, you got to do something about it too.
Go to the grave as a table flipper.
Start flipping tables. It's crazy.
It's crazy when you say flip. I just realized this. You're saying flipping tables, in like flipping tables, like a server.
As a server, just
I was talking about
actually flipping tables.
Actually flipping, no, because there's like those retractable tables that you flip. So I was talking about like actually flipping tables.
Don't flip tables, guys. Don't do that. You're gonna get in trouble.
Wait, but did you get that though?
I get it.
I was more literal. You were like flipping. You know what I mean?
But it's just interesting because you could be literal, you could be figurative. I mean, hey, we're still gonna do things that we like or we don't like. You know, it's making the best out of all of this. And we've learned a lot in week 2. Whether it was, hey, money, love, and also materialistic things aren't going to bring you happiness. You know, learning what your real happiness can come from, understanding yourself more and what brings you joy, versus saying, hey, this is going to be something that is only temporary and it's a quick dopamine hit, because we're not trying to keep doping. We're trying to look towards longevity. How am I going to be happy when that's not here? Whether that person isn't here, that money isn't here, or that Beamer isn't here.
Right. And don't chase that short-term happiness. It's not worth it, or else you'll be in those $5,000 repairs or $5,000 oil change.
Exactly. And honestly, the reminder of like, say, hey, your intuition, even though you might say, hey, I should buy that, or hey, I want to do that, and it's like, wait, is it really bringing you long-term happiness? Because some people say, I might die tomorrow. Yeah, but what if you don't? What if you keep living and you have to live with that regret, or live with that, like, now I got this responsibility.
Bury me with the Beamer. Some people do that. Bury yourself.
So allow yourself to understand that happiness can come in many forms. You can definitely understand that your mind and your intuition can play tricks on you. You're still not trying to fall for that noise. Really look past surface level and dig deeper always, because that's all we can do.
Yeah.
All right. That's it for today. Thank you, guys. Thank you, Diondre.
Of course.
We're going to talk about week 3 in the next one. Go check out week 1 in our last video if you haven't already. And shout out Laurie Santos, Professor Dr. Laurie Santos, Yale for hooking her up with this, Coursera for the free, and go check out her podcast, The Happiness Lab, because that is something that I feel like we could all use a little bit of uplifting,
Definitely. Yeah. Check out those Coursera courses. And then also shout out to Camilla in the back. You can't
shout out Camilla, camera woman on deck.
Maybe put her link.
Okay,
if
right
she's okay
there.
with that, you'll see it. She's doing a great job.
We're also doing life coaching for those who are trying to search for happiness and build a better and improved you. We can always be willing to talk to you. Go check out our stuff at needafriendly.co. That's .co, not .com, because we're not that rich yet.
Yes, not yet.
Not yet, though. But it doesn't matter because we're happy. All right, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Have a great one.
Peace. That was good. Wait, Camila has to say it's good.
Oh,
first.
sorry.
It was